Brought to you by Trilogy Home Healthcare, the industry leader with over 30 years of experience in providing home healthcare services such as skilled nursing, physical and occupational therapy, home health aides, and other specialized care to your homes throughout the state. Please tune in every other week as we bring you a range of good information from specialists in the field to help make you more informed and living healthy.
Good evening. Welcome, everyone. And this is your Hometown Health Show. I'm Yolanda Santana, your host. And this is sponsored by Trilogy Home Healthcare. We have Tony Brown from Trilogy. He's a healthcare coordinator. And we have as our special guest, Elizabeth Brust. Am I saying that right? Great. Nursing home administrator, and Eddie Oscar, director of marketing at Life Care Center at Inverary. Welcome. Good evening to everyone. How are you all?
Well, great. Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
So just before we get into everything, for those new listeners and viewers, Tony, could you tell them a little bit about what Trilogy does?
Sure. So Trilogy is a Medicare certified home health company, provides from Broward County all the way up to Jacksonville. We cover 48. We cover, I was thinking 48 states, 42 counties with 10 offices. And basically what we do is we offer skilled nursing, physical therapy, occupational therapy, home health aides, and there are a lot of other special services depending on what the patient's needs are. Our leadership has been doing this for a combined experience of over 100 years, and we work with people like Life Care to provide the best service in the community.
Wonderful, thank you for that. So, like I said, our special guests are Elizabeth and Eddie from Life Care Center. So, Elizabeth, why don't you start by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself and your facility, Life Care Center.
Well, thanks for having us again. We're happy to be able to join you, even from the comfort of our homes. A little different this time around. Well, I've been in the field now for just about 5 years with Life Care and 4 years at Life Care Center in Inverary. We are a 120-bed, 5-star facility. We do offer memory care, so we have a locked Alzheimer's dementia unit. But as a whole, Life Care is a part of, is one of the largest privately owned long-term care companies, and we're in 28 different states nationwide, and we have 21 locations here in Florida. So we make up a good chunk here in the state. But as far as Life Care goes, for South Florida, I think that working with Trilogy and with a lot of the rest of the community, we work very well with a lot of the hospital providers around us, and we offer the short-term, long-term care for our residents. And of course, our main goal is them trying to get them back into their homes, back to the community, and of course, some stay with us long-term, and we're happy to do that.
All right. So, Eddie, can you tell our listeners what insurances your facility takes and the types of patients you serve?
Okay, Life Care Center at Inverary, we accept Medicare, of course, Medicaid, and we accept most commercial insurance policies. We also do private pay. So as long as a patient has a payer that's on our census, we'll accept the patient. The type of patients that we accept at Life Care are, I would break it down into 3 different types. The first category is going to be short-term, the second is going to be long-term, and the third is going to be a mix. So short-term patients, those are patients that are discharged out of the hospital, they have a diagnosis, and they're not quite ready to go home yet. Those residents need a little bit of therapy prior to going home so that they can regain some of their function that they lost while they were hospitalized, and of course regain their independence so that they can go home safely. Those residents are usually admitted to Life Care from anywhere from 14 to 21 days. They work with our physical therapists, our occupational therapists, as well as our speech therapists. And once the patients are safe to go home, we transition those patients home with home health, and we partner with Trilogy, and a lot of our patients go home with Trilogy Home Health. The second bucket of patients that come to Life Care are long-term residents.
Oh, I think we might have lost them for a moment. Elizabeth, you want to jump in there?
I can pick up. Yes.
Hello?
With our
Hello?
long-term
Can you hear me?
residents.
You're back. Yeah.
Take it away.
I'm back? Sorry.
Yes, we can hear you now. You're kind of
Can
in
you
and
hear me?
out.
I'm not sure what's going on. Okay. Some long-term residents can no longer return home safely. So those residents are part of our family at Life Care. We holidays with them. We celebrate birthdays with them.
It looks like we have a really bad connection.
Is it me?
Yeah, I think it's you. Is anybody else seeing this?
I am.
Yeah. It's your connection.
I can piggyback on it.
Yeah.
Can you see me okay?
Yeah, we can see you.
Well, like Eddie was saying, our long-term patients, they are part of our little close-knit family. Some of them we have seen success stories. They stayed with us what we thought was going to be long-term, and whether they were picked back up on therapy or they made quite a recovery. We were able to get them transitioned to another either assisted living or independent living facility. But a lot of them, when they do stay with us, they may reside on our memory care unit, which has a separate set of activities. They have mainly around sensory stimulation, and then they also have their own dining services. They have their own care on that unit. And some do stay with us long term upstairs on our second floor, where we have kind of our mix of our short term and our long term. They do, of course, like Eddie said, we celebrate birthdays, holidays, everything, because this is their home. And I think that this year has really shown us, how thankful we are to be able to be their home and be that family for them, especially in these challenging times.
And I know it's not easy for us to have like a conversation because there's like a lot of time. But I will tell you this, it was funny, I was going to say this about Elizabeth specifically, Eddie too, but specifically Elizabeth. Whenever I have gone to Life Care in the past, she knows the name of every single person that's walking down the hallway. I mean, everybody. Anybody that's in physical therapy, anybody, hey, Mr. So-and-so, hey, Miss So-and-so, how's this going on? And what that does is it creates a family environment. And whether they're there short-term, long-term, it doesn't make any difference. And to me, that's why, for me, it's really easy for us to partner with them because that's what we're about. We're about making sure that the people feel special and that they know that we're there to care for them, as best as we possibly can. So I just want to acknowledge Elizabeth for that. You too, Eddie. You too, Eddie.
That's great. I feel all the love. It's wonderful. It sounds like a really great facility. So, Elizabeth, could you tell our listeners about the type of staff that would be providing care to the prospective patients at your facility?
Yes. We have 167 current employees that are all truly dedicated to their jobs. I without a doubt have worked, really closely now for 4 years with this group, with this team, and it takes all different types. I think that we're a good melting pot of lots of different personalities, and I think the patients come first, and no matter whether it's somebody who's extremely outgoing and wants to know the patient inside and out, everything about them, asks them a million questions, or somebody who might be a little bit more quiet and secluded. They really love their patients and they truly care for them. And again, like our main topic of the year is COVID, pretty much. But I think seeing the challenges that we've been faced, the employees have done such a great job of balancing the fact that they not only want to they're not just protecting their families at home, they're protecting their family at work, and they're really protecting the residents from obviously, keeping them safe, keeping them healthy, and just looking out for them all around.
That's great. So let's see if we can get Eddie back on. I don't know if your connection's gotten any better. What specialty services or programs does LifeCare have to offer?
So LifeCare, we have a full rehab suite, meaning we have physical therapy, occupational therapy, as well as speech therapy. And all of those are full-time employees, so they work at LifeCare full-time, 7 days a week. We also have a memory care unit, which Elizabeth alluded to earlier in the conversation. So we have that unit caters towards those patients who have dementia or Alzheimer's. It's a 23-bed unit. It's secured, and those patients get a little bit more care than the other residents in the facility. But I've seen patients who were acutely ill in the hospital come into that unit and really, really settle in. Their environment is very calm. The stimulation is very, very low. The activities are tailored to that diagnosis. Those patients do really well. The other specialty service that we offer is hospice as well as respite care. And hospice is going to be for those patients who have a terminal illness. We can also support hospice services as well as respite. And those are going to be for those family members who are at home that are caring for their loved ones, older parents, older loved ones who need a break. So they'll bring those patients or residents to LifeCare for anywhere from 3 to 5 days. They'll stay with us, and then after their stay with us, they'll return back home. That's called respite care.
That's great. I'm glad your connection's much better now. On that note, we're going to take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Trilogy was established in 2016 by industry experts with over 30 years in home health care operations spanning 30-plus counties throughout the state of Florida. With offices in Jacksonville, Port St. Lucie, West Palm Beach, we strive to provide the most optimal care to our patients in a fun, forward-thinking environment. Our focus is on personal relationships, whether with an employee, a patient, or an outside community. Because we know that when people enjoy what they do, it becomes why they do it. Call Trilogy today at 954-689-6660 and ask for more information. In addition to offering the standard mix of services, SN, PT, OT, speech, MSW, and HHA, we also take great pride in being on the cutting edge and offering care and education to our licensed clinicians in other areas most agencies likely don't offer. Emotional and behavioral health with our psych nursing, biofeedback for bladder incontinence and pelvic pain, chemotherapy, IV hydration, antibiotic and respiratory therapy. Call today at 954-689-6660. Trilogy Home Care. You have been listening to the Trilogy Home Health Show, and if you wish to be a guest on our show, please call us at 561-670-9213 and let us share your knowledge and information with our listeners. Trilogy Home Health Care Show enjoys serving the community and bringing doctors and facilities of interest to help educate and inform the community. Please call us at 561-670-9213 and let us put you on the airwaves with the Trilogy Home Health Show.
Welcome back. So you are listening to your Hometown Health Show, and I'm Yolanda Santana, your host. We have our special guests, Elizabeth and Eddie from LifeCare at Inverary, and we have Tony Brown from Trilogy. We were just talking or interviewing them and getting to know them. Wonderful people. And I wanted to know, as you know, you alluded to, of course, the pandemic, which has been plaguing us all year long. I can't wait till this year's over. But it's really affected our most vulnerable. Can you tell our listeners what precautions you have in place to keep staff and residents safe while keeping in mind your patients' and residents' mental well-being?
Yes, of course. I think it's the question everyone has, especially when they hear that, you work in a nursing home. It's like it's just kind of daunting, I think, to people. But, I think ultimately our company has been really, really good about, getting the policies in place, getting the procedures out to the facilities as quickly as possible. As you know, the first facility to have the outbreak was one of the Life Cares. And I think that ultimately we've learned so much in the process. We've at all times followed the CDC guidelines, followed all of the new and latest regulations and notifications we received from CMS and APA. And I've never had so many agencies come into the facility to the point that I almost feel okay when they show up, because they've really helped us with coming in and not only having to give us recommendations. I find that hearing the compliments of "you guys are doing a great job" has been the best, because ultimately we've been in a hot spot. Our facility's done a really good job about minimizing and mitigating any spread in the facility. We have had our cases. We've had our cases among our staff members and among our residents, and unfortunately, we've had a few residents who have passed as well. But I think working with our staff, our residents themselves, even our family members, the support that we've received is just tremendous. And I feel like we've all grown over the year, and I think this has been the biggest challenge ever. I think having to tell my parents I have to cancel and not go to Thanksgiving was hard, but I think ultimately it's for the best. It's for our residents, and it's for the career we're in.
Eddie, did you want to add anything?
No, I think she hit everything on the head. Healthcare is forever changing with COVID. It's caused us to adapt and adjust, and be mindful and just try to be as compassionate as possible. I think we've done the best that we can compared to a lot of other facilities out there. I know the corona is not going anywhere anytime soon, but I'm confident in the team that we have at Life Care. We're doing everything in our powers to keep our residents as well as our staff members safe.
Wonderful, yeah. So definitely, I think we're at a point where we should talk about how you and Trilogy, how Life Care Center and Trilogy work together. I think you spoke about it a little bit before, Elizabeth. If you could describe in detail a scenario that would help our listeners understand the benefits of your services and Trilogy's.
Of course. So, when it comes to working with Trilogy, I think, our discharge planning starts from day one. When a resident comes to our facility, we're already starting the conversation of what's going to happen. Where is this patient going to? What are the goals? What's therapy going to be working on? And ultimately, we can set all the goals we want, but we're working with humans. We're not working with robots. So the goals sometimes change. Sometimes patients do hit plateaus. But ultimately, when the patient's going to be going home, we're in the field of healthcare. Tony's in the field of healthcare, and it's our job to be sure that we make the transition as easy as possible for the family members and the resident. And so when we have the conversation with Trilogy, we're basically Tony's coming into the facility prior to COVID. Now he's getting stuff, remotely. But we can still get him the same. That's the beautiful thing about technology. So we reach out to Tony and we let him know, hey, Mr. Johnson's going to be getting ready for discharge, and we want to just, we're going to send him the clinicals. We're going to let him know where he's at, what services he's going to probably need. We may have an idea of that, but then Tony, because his expertise is in home health, he can also say, okay, it looks like after seeing how much therapy this patient has been provided and has received, and what their status is at this point, they may also need X, Y, and Z services. So it's kind of the handoff that that's what we kind of do with each other, so that it can just kind of minimize the stress and the burden on the family, because, ultimately you just want what's best for the patient.
And that's a perfect segue. I mean, we talked about it before. Actually, you talked about it on your end about having a team, like your team, how many people are there. And I'm just a part of a much larger team. So when they call and say, Mr. Johnson's ready to go home, we're basically setting it up for Mr. Johnson to have an easy transition home. And home can be their actual home, their place of residence, or it could be an assisted living facility, depending on wherever they consider to be home. And what's great is that I communicate right off the bat. I have communication with social services, and they let me know kind of a heads up what they might need. Like Elizabeth said, things are always changing. They're people, so they may not need certain services, but a lot of times they'll need skilled nursing. They might need more physical therapy than what they've already had at Life Care. But the key, it's always been like this, but even more so recently, has been communication and documentation, getting all of that information lined up. And it starts originally, it starts with the family member or the person themselves. As soon as they let me know that there's someone that's going to be, leaving, I'm in communication with them. Hey, I'm Tony. I'm your contact. I work for Trilogy. We're the ones that are going to be providing skilled nursing, physical therapy. We're the ones that are going to help you after you've left. And so that we initiate that contact with them so they feel comfortable. Because regardless of pandemic or anything like that, it's daunting even without a pandemic, because people are going through it. I was thinking about it as you guys were talking before. I was thinking about how to just put it into like layman terms. Like, when you stub your toe, or you kick your toe at the end of the table, I'm now limping. I'm walking funny. I'm not putting weight on that toe. Imagine if you had muscles that weren't used for weeks or a month or something like that, and they just have it. It takes time, and they have not only physically, they also have. It's also a mental thing. So that's why we have our own social workers that go and talk to people to help them mentally get through it. Our psych nurses, if someone has anxiety about going home in the pandemic and COVID, to let them know that it's safe, that everything is going to be fine. That's my job, is to facilitate information and also that compassion. Basically, they're passing me the baton to now make sure that this person is taken care of and that it's seamless for them to get home. And again, I just want to, kind of not put it out there, but, give credit and acknowledge our team, because it's a process. It goes into our intake team. Then it goes into our case management team. They make sure that everybody's scheduled and goes out there. And it's a machine. And if something doesn't go right in the machine, the ball can be dropped and then the person doesn't get the care that they need. So, again, kudos to Elizabeth and to Eddie. Eddie, and I see Eddie at the hospital all the time. We work closely with the hospitals to make sure that, again, because that's where the information, it starts there a lot of times. That ball goes to the hospital, then it goes to Life Care, then it comes to me, and then it goes out to our nurses, and then out the door.
Thank you for that explanation, for sure.
Tony, be quiet.
Well, I want to give everybody the opportunity to give us or the public their contact information. How can we get a hold of you before we end our segment? So, Elizabeth?
So, just my contact information from the facility? Or?
Yes, for Life Care. How can someone get a hold of you, or the website and phone number?
Okay, so Life Care Center Inverary, our phone number is 954-485-6144, and we're located on Rock Island Road between Commercial and Oakland, just across from the Turnpike. We're on a campus with an IL and AL, so we've got 3 pretty buildings all next to each other.
Great. Eddie?
And I can be reached on my cell phone at 917-562-1411. Just like this. Never stop with us. You can call me anytime. Or I can be reached at Anthony D at Trilogy.
And kudos to Tony.
I got it. I wanted to get the
Kudos.
report.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you for coming onto the show so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Life Care Center, and thank you, Trilogy.
Thank
Have a
you.
great night.
Trilogy Home Healthcare invites you to call our offices before making a decision about your home health and rehabilitative care. Different from other agencies, Trilogy offers specialized service that other agencies don't, providing exceptional care. That's who we are and what we do. Call us at 866-599-4959 or go to Trilogy Home Healthcare.